Okay, so we've placed an image, right, using file place. So here's something fancy that you're going to have to get used to about images. Now, first of all, this is giant, but that's okay. I'll just I won't even move it. I'm just going to go say, well, what if I want to resize it? And I grab the handle, and notice what happened. I actually cropped the image by moving this handle around, right? The concept that you have to understand is that every image gets a frame. Just like every area of text, and when we talk about text gets a frame, it's not just the image. There's a shape around it. As a matter of fact, I can play with the shape. If I go to the white arrow, which you're used to in Adobe Illustrator, and I pressed on this, right? You see the way I've changed the shape of that frame, right? So by default, your image, and let me Command Z all the way back, right? Came with a frame matching its size, right? So the question is then, how do I change the size of this? Well, again, all these Adobe products are two-handed things, right? If we hold down Command, and because we want to retain aspect ratio always, right? Shift is Adobe's way of maintaining aspect ratio, right? I can go ahead and start to resize it. And see, now I'm resizing both the image and the frame together. Now, I could actually get away with a single tool for this, and that's called the free transform tool. That if I chose this, which is E, if you quickly do it, and of course I still have to hold Shift, so I don't see a reason to go change tools from the black arrow tool, our main move around tool, right? Would be there, right? But let's say I don't want this image to come in to this, so let me go back to the black arrow. And let's say I didn't want this image to come in as this aspect ratio because I want it to be more of a banner. So I do this, right? And I can get this. But what if I don't like this crop? Well, see, if you see I move my cursor over this circle, I get this hand that I can drag, right? And so I can drag this around. That can also be done via the white arrow, that if I just grab with the white arrow, I can also move this around, right? Again, why switch tools if you don't have to? You can just go ahead and grab this center thing, and then since the image is here, right, I can actually even resize this image here. I'm holding Shift, of course, because I never want to screw with the aspect ratio, right? And put my image in thusly. So again, this takes a little while to get used to, right? The fact that there's always a frame, but we can also make anything a frame. So let's say I went over here to this ellipse. I want an ellipse, a perfect circle to put my object in, right? So I have this, and this time I'm going to go to File. I have it. No, note I have this selected, and I go to File, Place. Now I don't have to have it selected. I think when it gives it to me, I can put it in here. My habit is to just keep it selected. File, Place, right? I'm going to put New York City in there, and there it is. It's gone in there. Now further, we have another thing called fitting that we can do to help us, right? It came in and it's got this giant image and it kind of just placed it in. But let's say I want to see as much of the image as possibly. I'm going to control click on it. Control click on it and go to this thing called fitting. Okay? And really, you see, most of the time you want these. You want to fill the frame or the content proportionally. Sometimes you want to fit the frame to the content, right? That means maybe the content's larger than the frame, like you've resized it, and you want to go back and make sure the frame covers the entire image. Sometimes you want to fit the content to the frame. The problem is with fit content to a frame, right? We want to do it proportionally. We want to make sure we're not like changing the aspect ratio or anything, right? So if I hit fill content proportionally, we'll see in this case this isn't exactly what we want to do, right? And I can, with just the image selected, right, I can go ahead and make it bigger to where it wants to be. Let's see what happens if I go to fitting, fill frame proportionally. Well, that's closer to what we wanted in the first place, right? We wanted to fill as much of this frame as possible with this image, right? And then I can, go ahead and change it. I don't know why I would change it from this divergent line, but right. So that's what we can do with images, and that's about placing images.